Hi there. Welcome to Successful Online Advocacy with Soapbox Engage. We're going to be spending the next few moments walking through how you can create successful online petitions and online actions with Soapbox Engage. My name is Tim Forbes. I'm the VP of Products and Marketing here at PicNet. PicNet is behind the Soapbox Engage platform. And Soapbox Engage is simply a suite of online services or online apps that allows you to raise more money and change the world through your nonprofit. It is a constellation of different apps, all of which integrate with the Salesforce constituent relationship management tool, though not all require Salesforce. What we're going to be focused on is the Petitions and Actions app, and walking through first Petitions to learn how you can create an online petition for folks to come sign it, show their support, so that you can both activate new supporters, engage with existing supporters, build your mailing list, and really demonstrate support for a given position that you all are taking. Then we'll be walking through the same process of how you can create an action. An action differs from a petition in that instead of simply displaying the number of folks who have signed your petition, actions will take their signature and the email that, if they've chosen to edit, that they've edited, and send that to a decision maker that you're targeting. So we're going to be walking through the steps of how you create each of these, as well as walk through a number of the various aspects that you can customize within the Soapbox Engage administrator. So let's go ahead and jump into a specific example here for both the petition and the actions, so we can get to know the elements a bit more. Here we have a sample petition that is calling for Springfield Elementary School, where the Simpson children go to make their meals healthier by including more fresh fruit. Within petitions, we're going to have the petition name itself, a dominant image, a goal, a progress bar towards that goal with a number of supporters, the petition form, an appeal, a letter, and then the supporters listed, as well as some social sharing options. So from within the administrator in Soapbox Engage, once we've logged in, we can create a new petition by going to the Petition Pages section here on the control panel and simply clicking Add New Petition Page. If we wanted to, we could click View All to see the entire list of existing pages, or if we're content to just view the most recent 5, we can see those here. We can take various actions with the petitions shown here to either edit them, to view them on the front end, or customize the URL that folks use to access them. We, however, are interested in creating a new petition. So if we click Add New Petition Page, we're taken to the Petition Manager and the Add New Petition. Within this first details section, here is where we get to set some of the very basics of the petition. So we can define the title, as we saw on our example, with more fresh fruit in Springfield Elementary's lunches. We can customize the URL that folks use to access this petition. So instead of simply going to the default URL that's created when we create the petition, we're able to click Customize URL and put in a URL of our choosing, a link of our choosing, as well as to create a page title that shows up at the top. We can choose whether or not this is published. We can also select the campaign in Salesforce that we want the signers of this petition to be associated with when they are created in Salesforce. We can do that by opening up this pop-up, selecting an existing campaign. If one does not exist, we can click New, give it a title, choose the type if we wish, identify a goal for the number of signers, and set a description, start, end date, and whether or not this is active. We can choose whether or not to accept supporters. By and large, you're going to be leaving this as yes, unless the petition period, signing period, is over. You could change that to no, so folks no longer can sign it, but the information about those who have would still be displayed. We can define the number of supporters to display. The default is 3. In our example that we saw here, it's also set to 3. For the petition header image, we can choose Browse if we want to upload an image from our computer, or if we've uploaded them already, we can go ahead and choose them from the drop-down here. Within Soapbox Engage's administrator, we'll have a number of buttons that say customize headings and labels. What these are sliders that will automatically expand so that you have access to various elements that you likely won't need to change, but if you ever want to, you can. In this case, we've got the letter, section title, supporters, a number of textual elements on the front end that usually are fine to remain as is, but you can alter should you wish to. Social sharing, you can set some basics for how this petition would be shared over Facebook and Twitter. Next tab. Next tab is the appeal itself. Petitions page description is what we saw up here at the top. Our kids deserve healthful, nutritious food that will foster strong bodies and sharp minds. You can define that on this tab at the top, and then the petition page letter itself is included here. We've also got a petitions page outro that would show up at the bottom underneath the supporters list. So in this case, we have that just as a photo credit for the image that we've got up here at the top. Moving on to the next tab, the form itself, we're able to define whether or not we want various fields to be shown or hidden, and if they're shown, whether or not we want them to be required. First name, last name, email address will always be displayed and always be required. That's because these fields are required to create a lead record in Salesforce, and that's exactly what happens when Soapbox accepts a new petition signature. It will record it in Salesforce as a lead, and then Soapbox packages will automatically convert that lead to a contact. So first name, last name, email address, always required. Beyond that, you can choose to show, hide, or require street, city, state, postal code, country, as well as the reason for signing, just in case you want to capture that from an individual, whether or not this person would like you to display their signature. The default for all of those is to show them, and the default for display signature is to have that box checked so that the petition signer needs to uncheck it if they don't wish to have their name displayed. And then honeypot. Honeypot, this is an anti-spam measure, so that rather than requiring something invasive that the front-end user needs to deal with, like CAPTCHA, that annoying little form where you have to pick out what the little squiggly lines are so that you can type the characters in before you can submit a form. Instead of putting it on the user, this particular approach is to create tasty sounding but hidden fields for spam bots to fill out if they're coming to fill out the form by spidering the site. It's recommended that you'll want to have this on so that that will stop spam bots, because if any of those hidden fields are populated, the form won't be allowed to submit. For the Messages tab, you've got the ability to send emails as well as post a message just on a thank you page once the individual has signed the petition. Here we've got the message itself that you can define here, as well as the message title, or if you wish, you could send the user off to an entirely different URL of your choosing that you would define here under return URL. For admin email options, you've got the ability to enable an email that's sent to staff, and that can be sent to multiple staff if you wish. You just need to have a comma between each of those email addresses. And then finally, we've got the email to the end user that you can set here. Finally, the Layout tab allows you a number of different options for adjusting how the form looks. The most prominent one is whether or not it shows in 1 or 2 columns. We see the 1 column example here on, the 2 column example here on the front ends. There's also a number of ways that you can alter colors and whether or not various pieces of the petition display on the front end. That is how you create a petition. You can view your supporters by going to the Supporters tab here, or by going to Salesforce and viewing them. So that's a petition. Now, what if you want, though, to actually have the individuals who are supporting your efforts have an email that they can customize that is sent to a given target that you're wishing to influence? That would be through our Soapbox Actions app. Here we have an example of a Soapbox action. What we see is an effort by this group to commemorate an historic anniversary of a given community in their city, actually here in Washington, D.C. What we've got is a similar kind of setup with the title of the action, a dominant image, and then instead of the full form, we're presented with the initial appeal and a search where the individual puts in their address to see if they're eligible for taking this action. Now, just to show our example here, I'll go ahead and put in an address and submit it. Once done, the action will evaluate whether that address qualifies as someone who can take this action, and if it does, we'll be presented with the entirety of the form. We'll get to see who we're contacting. In this case, it's the House of Representative member for this address, Eleanor Holmes Dorton. We see the default letter that's been created by the administrator with the subject line and the text of the letter. Then we have the balance of the contact information form down here at the bottom, complete with an ability to sign up for a newsletter of the organizations and to identify that they want to be kept up to date on the progress of this action. Now, how can we go ahead and create an action? Well, similarly to petitions, we can start from the control panel here in Soapbox Engage. We can click View All to see all of the actions that we've created. We can see the most recent 5 here in the table itself, as well as take the same actions that we saw for petitions on these individual actions, or we can click Add New Petition Page to create a new Add New Action Page to create a new action, which we'll go ahead and do. Once we do that, we're taken to an administrator view that's quite similar to petitions, just containing a couple more tabs that are going to be significant. Much like petitions, we've got the ability to identify the title. We can choose to customize the URL, just like we can for petitions. We've also got a description field here that's new. The description is simply shown internally, so you can fill this out with any details that you wish that only you as an administrator will see. We can choose to have this set to published or not. We can also set this action to test mode. This is important when you're first creating the action and you don't want to actually send messages to your target until you can verify that everything is set. Test actions will be sent to the test email address that you can identify in the configuration for the app, which we'll see in a bit here. Just like petitions, we can identify a supporter's goal or a goal for the number of supporters. At this point, this isn't displayed on the front end. It is displayed just in the administrator, so you can see progress towards your goal. Just like petitions, we've got social sharing options here and this customize headings and labels slider so that we can get more access to show or hide various elements or customize text. Now for the appeal. The appeal tab is where we can set our header image, just like we do for petitions. And we can set the action intro and outro. The action intro and outro is what shows up on that first page for the address check that we saw. Now, who can act? This is going to be unique to actions and not included in petitions. This is the first step in defining the process, the logical flow of your action. So first step is deciding who you want to be able to complete this process. You can start with everybody, so it's just open regardless of where they live, and you can get progressively more specific from there. So you can shift to everyone in the United States. You can select supporters in specific states, and from there you choose those states and move them over if you wish. You can choose supporters in specific US congressional districts. From here, you can choose a hodgepodge of different options if you wish, or entire blocks of given states. It's entirely your decision. Going further, smaller still, we can target state lower house districts by a similar process. Select, move over, remove as we wish. And finally, we can choose supporters in specific state upper house districts. Now you can only choose one type of geographic area upon which to filter. We'll go ahead and keep it relatively straightforward and say US congressional districts. So we'll remove all of these, and let's say that we want to target all of Arizona for some reason. Moving down, we're able to see the outside of supporter filter message. This will be the text that is shown in this case for anyone not in the state of Arizona who wishes to attempt to fill this out. They'll be shown this message. Anyone who does fall into the who can act area will be sent to the actual action page, which we define next. For the action, we need to define a target, and there's going to be 5 different predefined target types that you can choose. All of these predefined target types will be dependent on where this individual lives, the person who is taking this action. So it can be their governor, their mayor, their state lower house representative, their state upper house representative, or their US House of Representative. If we choose US House of Representatives, we're going to be presented with an additional required field that is the topic selection. And here you can select one or multiple topics to include. This information will be sent to the US House of Representatives member to help them sort through the messages that they get. If we don't include the US House, then that field is not presented and not required. You can choose multiple targets, multiple predefined targets if you wish. In general, though, the message that you're going to be sending will be probably specific to that individual's particular position. So you'll likely be choosing just one predefined target. In addition to predefined targets, you've got the ability to create custom targets. Any custom target you've created will be added here in initially the exclude list and can be moved over and included. You can include any number of custom targets that you wish. Those individuals will be emailed the message, and the same custom target or targets that are defined in this action tab will be the target for anyone that fills out and completes this action. It isn't going to be dependent on where they live. These are global custom targets. Moving down below, we see the customize headings and label section where you can identify or customize various elements of the action. The target email. This is the actual message that you want your constituent to send. You can identify the subject line of the email, the salutation of the email, and the body of the email. You can also decide whether or not you want the subject line to be editable by folks who take this action, as well as whether or not the body can be editable. Most of the time, you're going to want to keep the default here to yes, because you want folks to be able to customize the message that you are requesting that they send. You can, however, make it so it's not editable. Once again, we've got a customize headings and label section to alter the section title of what you're saying and the section description. Just on the front end, we'll see here the what you're saying heading is here, and then any description that you customize would be below that text. Further down, we see the supporter fields, same as petitions, first name, last name, email address are always shown and always required. And then we have similar address fields that can be shown or hidden or required, as well as the ability to sign up for your newsletter, receive updates. This would be something that you could use to email individuals who take an action to let them know if you've reached a goal, if there's been certain news related to the efforts that you want to share with them. And then once again, we have the honeypot anti-spam measure and the ability to customize headings and labels on this form. Post-action, what happens after somebody completes the action? Once again, we're able to customize an email. This goes to the user themselves. We can also customize an email to an administrator, so anybody on staff that you wish to receive notice that somebody has completed an action, they can be included here. And then we've got the ability to display that thank you page again, where you can customize the page title and text, or you can send them to a custom link. Once again, any URL of your choosing. Next tab shows us any supporters that have signed this petition. This is brand new, so no signatures yet. And then on the integration tab, we've got the ability to turn on or off Salesforce integration, and much like petitions, the ability to select an existing Salesforce campaign with which to associate this person who's taken the action, or you can create a new campaign by clicking new. We'll close out of this. We mentioned custom targets. You can create custom targets by clicking the Custom Targets tab, then clicking New, and completing the fields here for first name, last name. Email address is always going to be required because that's how we contact this particular target. Everything else is optional, however. We noted that under the configuration is where you can set the test mode email. That can be done right here. This defines what email address receives any tests that you are going to send, so that you can see how the different action emails are coming through. That is how you can create a petition and an action within Soapbox Engage. In addition to creating these various forms and making them accessible through your website by customizing the URL, you also have the ability to use UTM codes in conjunction with your Google Analytics account, should you have one, that when you send out, let's say,